So in regards to the last chapter, how is it that Miss Pointy is talking and communicating with all of her students, specifically Sahara? She does it kind of a sneaky way in that last chapter. Go ahead. By their journals, right? Those journals are super important. That's how the students communicate with Miss Pointy. And I would imagine, and I know this as a teacher, getting to read students' journals, you learn a lot about those people. Those are their thoughts and feelings about things. Miss Pointy goes right to Sahara's house, and she's talking to Sahara's mom, but do you think she's really talking just to Sahara's mom? Let me rephrase that. I think she's talking loud enough so Sahara can hear her. I think that she's smart enough to know that Sahara's probably not really asleep. And just being there says a lot about Miss Pointy. That communicates something that Sahara is important to Miss Pointy. But it also shows me Miss Pointy wants to see what Sahara's life is like at home. She says a lot of positive things about Sahara to Sahara's mom. Sahara's mom's like, "Are you sure you didn't read her file?" And she's like, "No, I'll read it at the end," because she wants to get to know Sahara for who she is, not just what's been written on paper. So that's where we left off. This is chapter 10. It is called Orphans. Miss Pointy likes poetry. No, she loves poetry. She gives us a copy of poems by famous poets, one every couple of days, but she doesn't quiz us about them. So most of the kids throw them in the garbage can about 2 minutes after she passes them out. Miss Pointy gets mad, but she doesn't make the kids take them out of the garbage can. She says that's our bad choice. All she can do is give them to us. She can't make us take them. Daryl doesn't even look at them. He just crunches them into a ball, pretends the garbage can is a hoop, and Kobe uses the poem for a slam dunk or sometimes a three-pointer. I never throw the poems away she gives to me. Is that surprising to you that Sahara keeps the poems?
No.
Why not? Why is that not surprising? It's not surprising to me. Go ahead.
Because she's a writer.
She's a writer. Jackson, you said it too. She's a writer. And writers write, and writers like to collect good writing material or good reading material so they can learn how to become an even better writer. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I never throw away the poems she gives me. I keep them. I memorize some of them. My favorite is Autobiographia Literaria by Frank O'Hara. When I was a child, I played by myself in a corner of the schoolyard all alone. I hated dolls and I hated games. Animals were not friendly and birds flew away. If anyone was looking for me, I hid behind a tree and I cried out, "I am an orphan!" And here I am, the center of all beauty, writing these poems. Imagine. Garrett, could you please close the door for me? Thank you, sir. Frank O'Hara called his poem Autobiographia Literaria, which means his life story. He told it in just a few words, not like me having to write page after page like this. I whisper these words I learned from Miss Pointy's inky ditto to keep myself company when Mom is late coming home from work. The rhythm is sweet. It reminds me of church. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. When I was a child, I played by myself. I know it's bad to say they feel the same, but I can't help it. It's true. When I'm alone opening a can of corn in the kitchen with dirty dishes piled high, I imagine coming out from behind a tree and being the center of all beauty, which doesn't seem likely, but to Frank O'Hara, it happened. All he had to do was come out from behind a tree, and he was somewhere else. I say his words over and over again, like a spell. If I say it maybe 1,000 times, it'll come true for me, too. Maybe the poems are a test, like Cinderella's slipper. Maybe if you can make them fit, you can be queen. That would be useful, but not everybody finds poems useful. Not everybody trusts poets or Miss Pointy. "Man, poetry's for punks," Daryl said. "I'd like to know who isn't a punk, according to you, Daryl," said Miss Pointy. Daryl had the answer right away. "People with money." Well, then you should love poets, because they know the value of a word the way a banker knows the value of a dollar. A poem is a small economy of words. Each word is worth its weight in gold. Yeah, take a poem to the store, see what it buys you, sneered Daryl. If you spend a poem wisely, you'll get love back in return. Not breakfast cereal or coffee. We're not talking food stamps here. Raphael snorted, but it was a clumsy snort because having a teacher talk about love is so gross you can hardly snort. Still, I wrote out my favorite poem in my best handwriting. I folded it into a little square. I didn't sign it. I tried to think who to give it to. The door opened. It was Peaches, the special needs teacher. I couldn't help slinking down in my seat. She waved to me. I waved back, miserably. Ugh. I'm here for Daryl, she said to Miss Pointy, who was writing on the chalkboard. Daryl started to get up. Sit down, Daryl. I didn't say that you could leave your seat, said Miss Pointy. Where are you taking him? Peaches looked surprised. Services, she said in a lowered voice. What services? Said Miss Pointy, not in a lowered voice. Religious services? I wouldn't have guessed he was Jewish. He doesn't speak any Yiddish, and his Hebrew is entirely illegible. But that's okay. He's a little slow, Miss Pointy rasped from behind her hand. Peaches laughed. I recognize that laugh. It's a, oh, I heard about you laugh. We don't like the word slow, said Peaches. We don't? Said Miss Pointy. Then what do we do about snails and turtles and broken watches? Peaches straightened. Miss Potier, Daryl Sykes needs special help. He has been identified as having impulse control issues, she said, even lower than before. He acts out. Who doesn't? Miss Pointy asked. No, I mean, haven't you checked his records? Oh, wait, that's right. The records. Oh, yes, Daryl Sykes. You'll have to excuse me. I'm new. Now, here, let me see. I got a note about his services. Just recently, there's been a change. Now, oh, geez, where did I put that note? Oh, I'm so disorganized. Did you get a copy the first week of school about the change in Daryl's services? Watching her, I realized I had a front row seat to some serious and amazing lying. She wasn't looking for anything at all. She was just touching everything on her desk. First, she lifted the flower vase, and then she opened a drawer. Then she ran her hand over some files, and then she started rifling through some papers. Then she made clicking sounds with her tongue and opened another drawer and swished her hand on the inside so you could hear all the scissors and paper and clips and staple removers clattering around. Oh, where is it? I told myself not to jump to conclusions, but even Daryl Sykes was making a constipation face to keep from smiling. Why would a teacher want Daryl Sykes in class, let alone lie to keep Daryl Sykes in class, especially after all his trouble his psycho mother has stirred up, especially after George Washington and the cherry tree? What happened to honesty and accountability? Why would she lie to help a crazy bad boy like Daryl Sykes? Daryl Sykes! It was a mystery to me. Finally, Miss Pointy turned to Peaches and said very decisively, "You must have it." Me? I don't remember getting any notes, said Peaches. What did it say? It said Daryl's mother's refused services this year. No pullout. Peaches touched her lip. You're kidding. She lifted her arm and pointed straight at Daryl, who was pretending to be very interested in the wall. The note said, he is not going to be receiving services. Him, right there, him. She looked kind of excited, like she'd been told she'd won the lottery, but she couldn't quite believe it. Isn't it a shame? Miss Pointy made her eyes wide. You can call his mother. Maybe she'd be willing to talk. She smiled innocently. Or go to the principal and tell him that you lost the note. But I'm sure that's what the note said. I guess we could try it. Peaches looked worried. I hope, though, you will come to me if you need, support. That's very kind, said Miss Pointy. I'm grateful for the offer. Peaches brightened. And Sahara? Yes? Well, how's she doing? Gee, I don't know, said Miss Pointy. Sahara! How are you doing? Fine, I said in a small voice. Good! She's fine, said Miss Pointy. She's fine, thanks for asking. And how is your mother? Fine, said Peaches. Fine. Oh, that's excellent. Everybody seems to be fine. All right, said Peaches. I'll be going then. Fine, said Miss Pointy. Thank you. Bye now. She walked Peaches to the door. Miss Pointy sat down at her desk, which she hardly ever does, and she smiled behind her fingers. She and Daryl were staring at each other. She's a nice lady, said Miss Pointy. Yes, she is, said Daryl sternly. And yet you behaved very badly. Ugh, she grunted, holding her stomach. Ugh, I think I have impulse control issues. They both burst out laughing. I don't think I'd ever heard Daryl laugh before. Oh, it was nice. Rattling like a tambourine at church. I dropped Autobiographia Literaria on Daryl's chair as we were heading out to recess. Sarah, may I see you? Miss Pointy caught me at the classroom door. Please stay behind. I need to speak with you for a minute. Speak to me? What? She left me alone in the room while she walked the rest of the class to the exit. I saw a pile of journals on her desk. I had been doing the journal assignments every day since I had been sick. That could be it. Luz's journal was on top, stickers sparkling. Ooh. I swallowed hard. Ooh. I couldn't even think about if she knew how bad I was. Did she see me drop the poem on Daryl's desk? I didn't mean anything big by it. Sometimes people just need a poem sometimes. Didn't she say so? She was going to talk to me about boys, and if she was going to talk to me about boys, oh, in which case I would truly have to die. Maybe she knew I was snooping in Daryl's journal just once in a while. And just Daryl's, it's easy to find on the pile because it's all beat up. And anyway, you can hardly read it. The spelling's so bad. I don't even know why I would read it. It's just, he's kind of surprising. It's not like he'll just come out and talk to you like a regular old boy. She said she liked snooping herself, didn't she? But I can't tell her I know that because I was kind of snooping then too by pretending I was asleep and listening. But what if it isn't about Daryl at all? Well, here it comes, I thought. Wouldn't it be easier? Wouldn't life be easier if she'll talk to me like I'm special? Maybe I'll have to sit out in the hall again. Maybe she read my file. Maybe Miss Pointy swept back in. Oh, sorry, she said. Miss Pointy, sometimes I look at Daryl's journal. I exploded. She froze for a second and gave me a funny look and then unfroze. Well, don't get caught, she said. She went right for the pile of journals, but Luz's journal was flung to the side, and so was Daryl's. She dug sloppily until she pulled out my own journal with my name written in tight little handwriting on the cover. This. She held it in the air and shook it like a lawyer on TV. This. I stood in front of Miss Pointy, but she didn't say anything more for a moment. I just stood there and she just stood there shaking my journal. Yes? I squeaked. You'll excuse me, but I need to ask some things about this. Miss Pointy glared suspiciously down her pointy nose. You're not involved in any time travel debacle, are you? Like, you didn't go a few years into the future, write this, and then come back? She leaned forward and squinted at me in an accusing way. No, ma'am. I said, I don't think so. She took out a pair of glasses from her desk. X-ray specs with spirals covering the lenses. Hold still, she demanded. Nothing personal, just doing my job. I nodded as though I understood. She stared into my face hard. I think as hard as anyone ever has looked at me besides my own mother. I couldn't see her eyes, but her eyebrows were going up and down like she was trying to crack a safe or defuse a bomb. Extraordinary, she whispered. It's all there. What is? I asked. Words, she said. Your talent. And then she pulled something out of her tight sleeve, a gold star with a rainbow streaming behind it, just like the one I had taken from Luz. Well, that's all I needed to know, she said. Run along. I burst out onto the playground. Rachel and Cordelia were waiting for me. What did Miss Pointy do? What did Miss Pointy do to you? Said Cordelia, but I ignored her and I rushed past across the playground right to Paris. What? Asked Paris. I took her hand. I slipped the sticker inside, secret-like. She looked at her palm, then at me. She didn't smile. She narrowed her eyes, but then she closed her hand around it, nodded, and ran off to Luz. I felt myself breathe again. I could hear feet clumsily drumming toward me and Cordelia as Rachel raced to catch up. Are you in trouble? Asked Rachel. No, I said. Whew, not anymore. Let me stop there for a second. Did you catch what just happened? Miss Pointy stops her, comes back, and right away Sarah's like, sometimes I sneak and read Daryl's journal. And she's like, well, don't get caught. Is that what Miss Pointy wanted to keep her back for? No, it's so like Sarah totally gives it away, which I find hilarious. And then Miss Pointy takes out some x-ray specs, like the ones with the spirals on them. You've probably seen them on like TV or cartoons or whatever, maybe even have a pair. And she's like looking at her up and down. Now, I don't know if you know this about x-ray specs. They don't actually work. But Miss Pointy is like looking at the x-ray specs up and down Sahara, and Sahara's like, what the heck is going on? And Miss Pointy is like, this. And she's referring to her journal. Why does Miss Pointy give her a sticker? It's her first sticker, really. Yeah.
Because
She's been doing her work. Ever since she came back, she's been doing her work. Now, what do we know about Sahara's writing? It's really good, and Miss Pointy is so impressed that she gives her that gold sticker or that gold star with the rainbow. And immediately, Sahara could put that on her journal and say how proud she is, but what does she do with that sticker?
She gives it to Paris so Paris can give it.
Yeah, she gives it to Paris so Paris can give it to to Luz, to make up for the one that Sahara actually ripped off. Great part of the story. Are you in trouble, huffed Rachel? No, not anymore. But I was wrong. When we came back in the classroom, I thought Daryl would sit on the poem I left for him, and that would be that. But he saw it, even though I folded it so small. He opened it and opened it and opened it. He didn't even sit down. And then he read it, and his face turned a purplish color, and he looked mad. He looked so mad, I got scared, and I slumped down in my desk. He yelled a swear word that I know I shouldn't write, but the whole class looked at him, and then he roared, "Who put this on my chair?" As deep and as loud and as angry as a giant. I thought about climbing into my desk, but I figured I wouldn't fit. "I ain't no orphan!" He nearly screamed. "Somebody's called me an orphan!" "Nobody's calling you an orphan, Daryl." Miss Pointy was looking so exactly the way of me that I knew she was thinking about me. How does she know everything? I hope Daryl wouldn't notice. His chest heaved up and down, and he looked at all of us with red, wet eyes. I could have cried for being so scared, and I could have cried for being so terrible, for nearly making the meanest, most special boy in the school explode. But all I could think about was how it would be at least a week before I had the chance to snoop in his journal again. And also how Miss Pointy was right. Poetry is not for punks.